I've become somewhat fond of big four-wheel drives. They're incredibly comfortable to drive. And although it's been around for a while, Navara has a newish top model. This special edition is now permanent, and it's the N-Trek. What's special about N-Trek? Well, basically it's based on an STX, so the top Nissan Navara. This one's based above that. It's now a permanent special edition. It's characterised by big, butch, wide side steps with orange highlights. These special decals, black door handles, black mirrors, black reflective coating on the mirrors and on the side step, big black wide treads, and these black 18-inch wheels. Front suspension is double wishbone, and there's a 5-link with shock absorber at the rear. The headlights also have blacked out bits and they're LED. But this badge is not solid, so this car does not have active cruise control. Actually, it misses out on a couple of other things too, like active lane management and blind spot monitoring. Pricing for the N-Trek is $56,490 for the manual and $58,950 for the automatic. It's got a 5-year unlimited kilometre warranty, and the engine is a 2.3 twin-turbo diesel. It's got 140 kilowatts and 450 newton metres. Economy is 7 litres per 100 kilometres, and the CO2 is 186 grams per kilometre. It comes in either a 6-speed manual or 7-speed automatic. It's got an 80-litre fuel tank and a wheelbase of 3,150 millimetres. The tray is 1,503 millimetres long and 1,130 millimetres wide between the wheel arches. That expands to 1,490 at the top. Ground clearance is 228 millimetres, front overhang 870 millimetres and rear overhang 1,235. There's also an electronically controlled 4-wheel drive system and an active brake limited slip differential. It delivers equal power to both rear wheels to boost traction and help you keep moving forward. There's also hill start assist. Around the back there's also some quite nice add-ons too. The reversing camera is standard, but the tub liner, it's this kind of soft rubbery material which is absolutely beautiful to touch. The good thing about having the tie-downs just here is that you can put a tonneau cover over the top if you want to and still have your load underneath those tie-downs. These fabulous looking black bars, they call them sports bars, but originally I thought these all were rollover bars, but of course they're not. They're just decoration, they're just attached to the bodywork. The bodywork, of course, is sitting on top of a ladder frame chassis. That's a little bit old-fashioned, but it's very sturdy for cars that have to carry a lot of weight. Also slightly old-fashioned are the drum brakes that are on the rear of this vehicle, so it's got discs at the front and drums at the back. Apparently that's okay in a vehicle that can tow 3,500 kilos. There's a total vehicle mass of almost 6,000 kilos. Navara competes in a very tight segment, and in fact, and this is really interesting, the 3 top-selling vehicles in Australia last month were all pickup trucks, every single one of them. Navara is not in the top 10, but it does compete against the likes of Toyota Hilux, Ford Ranger, and Mitsubishi's Triton. So it says a lot about Australian buying tastes. In fact, most of the vehicles in the top 10 were either SUVs or pickup trucks. Most of the time you're going to be driving in 2-wheel drive, and that's the rear wheels doing all the work. And it makes short work of most of what you'll ever want to put it through. This has got one of those 4-wheel drive systems where you have to select manually whether you want it to be in 2-wheel drive or 4-wheel drive, and whether you want it to be high range or low range. And low range simply means that you've got more torque. This is where I'd really like some extra torque. The first thing that I noticed though about the ride in this car is that it is absolutely sensational. It's brilliant. So much about it is brilliant. It's just a shame it's let down by those safety features that are missing that its opposition has. Ranger has blind spot monitoring, active lane control, etc. And I think that will probably turn some buyers off. It's been updated over the years since it was released, but I don't think it's quite enough. Having said that, it is very easy to drive around town. Off-road, of course, it is a genuine, proper four-wheel drive, but it's very limited in its off-road programming. You've got hill start assist and hill descent control, and that's it. The rest is up to you. The rest is you manipulating those high and low range gears. And that should be enough for most people, because you really aren't going to go four-wheel driving anyway. Most of these things never do. This is really the car for that kind of butch tradie. And once he's finished banging things in, he's going to want something that's nice to drive home. N-Trek has nice orange highlights inside, as well as the ones that I mentioned on the outside. There's stitching in the seats, there's the fabric in the seats itself, and there's other highlights too. And finally, Nissan has caught up and is putting Apple CarPlay in as standard. There's a lot of people I know that wouldn't buy a car that didn't have CarPlay. You know who you are. You. Yes. It's got very comfortable seats, very comfortable. The driver is particularly well catered for. The driver has electric adjustment on his seat, plus there's a lumbar support adjustment as well, which I think is really important. The passenger sadly has to make do with manual adjustment, which I think is a bit sad. The dash looks pretty good. There's an indicator between the front dials that is a multifunction display that you can change and put whatever information on that you like, including a digital speedo. You know I like a digital speedo. Also up front, you can see my Navman is plugged into the additional power supply up there on the top of the dash, where there's also a tray. There's a tray in front of the gear selector in the center stack, and above that is the parking sensor controls and the four-wheel drive lock selector. Above that is the dual zone climate control, and of course there's USB input as well, which is pretty important now. You can also charge your phone there. The nifty thing is, I don't know if you can see it, but there's a cup holder below each vent in the front on the dash, which I think is kind of cool, and it's not above anything that's going to be damaged by liquid. Some of them have them here above the center stack. This is a nice big clear touchscreen, and you can at any stage select the camera, which has got a 360-degree view. So there's a plethora of power outlets inside, which I think is pretty good. You can plug in your mobile fridge or whatever. Then we come to the actual drive. The steering is pretty good considering these all-terrain tyres. By the way, they also come standard on N-Trek. You can put the car precisely where you want it to be, and it rides well even without a load in the back. And that's not something you can say with some of the pickups that have leaf spring rear ends. In fact, they're pretty dreadful. This is being sold as a 5-star car, and so it was in 2015. However, if Navara was to be retested now, it would not get 5 stars because it doesn't have autonomous emergency braking or blind spot monitoring or anything like that. So it's important to watch your safety rating. It's important to look at which year it was rated in and what the criteria are for the current year. So this would probably get a 4-star, maybe even less. It still performed well in crashes, so that probably wouldn't change, but it's all those active safety features that Navara is missing. But with the bad, there's also good. The sound from the stereo is brilliant, absolutely brilliant. And because it has CarPlay and Android Auto, you can plug your phone in and answer your calls and messages and what have you completely hands-free. Despite those few little things that Navara is missing, I really enjoy driving this big, butch, manly, masculine four-wheel drive pickup truck. It's relatively economical, nice on the road, and there's a bunch of space should you wish. I'm just going to record that guy jumping out in front of me. And there's a bunch of space should you wish to carry something in the back. I normally think of things that I don't like about a car, and apart from those little things that are missing, those safety things that are missing, there's nothing I don't like. I really, really like the looks. I think this thing looks spectacular. I've developed quite a taste for large pickup truck style SUVs. Something I never thought I'd say, but I'll always be a sports car man. Well, that's it for Nissan Navara N-Trek. I really got to love it over the week that I had it, but unfortunately with those few little extra things missing, the blind spot monitoring and so forth, I don't know, I think it's lagging a little bit behind, especially in technology. Other than that, it's an excellent car. And with the multi-link rear suspension, it rides much more smoothly than the opposition with their rear leaf springs. Let me know what you think in the comments. In the meanwhile, don't forget, hit just there to subscribe.
Yeah.